Top cheapest European countries to visit. 1. Bulgaria. Bulgaria often tops the list of inexpensive countries to visit in Europe, and with good reason. For starters, Bulgaria remains largely undiscovered by tourists except for those who come over in summer for a cheap vacation alongside the Black Sea. Even then, accommodations, flights, and entertainment will still cost you a fraction of what you would pay in Western Europe. In the off-season, prices drop considerably, and you can ski, eat, and travel around the country for a tenth of what it costs in the West. 2. Romania. Romania is one of the cheapest destinations in Europe, especially if you're heading to the Carpathian Mountains for some hiking or mainly focused on exploring the countryside. Even a visit to Brasov, home to Dracula's 14th century Bran Castle, can be very affordable if you book a sightseeing day tour or don't mind slow train connections out of Bucharest. Trains aren't always in the best condition in Romania, but they are safe and very cheap. Some of the most beautiful structures in Bucharest, including the 15th century Old Town, Revolution Square, and Romania's own Arch of Triumph, are either free or very cheap to visit. In warmer weather, renting a bike can be a great way to explore smaller cities, or you can join one of the many free walking tours that depart from the center of town. 3. Montenegro. Montenegro is a very new country. It regained independence in 2006, and one many people couldn't even place on a map. Montenegro is a bit of everywhere in a country still trying to find itself. Expect very cheap food prices as long as you stick to the hearty, meaty local foods such as a meat-stuffed pie like burek. Anything else will mean tourist prices. Most cities also host farmers markets on weekends, a great place to pick up a snack or a quick bite to eat for very cheap. During July and August, the coast of Montenegro is filled with tourists, mainly from Russia, whose citizens don't need a visa to get in. If you're heading to hip coastal Budva or Herceg Novi towns, skip the summer months. Otherwise, head inland for a visit to rugged mountains, glacial lakes, and UNESCO-walled towns. 4. Portugal. Portugal's most attractive destinations are all about nature, the sun, and the outdoors, meaning they're mostly free. The Faro district in the south of the country is a popular destination for its soft golden sands, cliffs, and lighthouses, while visitors to Madeiras head there for the rugged volcanic hiking trails, the beautiful horror, and the great scuba diving. The biggest expenses on a trip to Portugal will be food and accommodations, though visiting outside peak season, June to August, will reduce costs considerably. From November to February, prices drop even more, but the temperatures remain around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius, so it's the perfect time to visit to score great bargains. Some of Portugal's most interesting destinations are free to explore, aside from the cost of the transportation to get you there. These include the ancient town of Évora, a World Heritage Site, and the 12th century Templar Castle and Convent of Christ in the town of Tomar. 5. Slovenia. A tiny country surrounded by giants, Italy, Austria, and Hungary are against its borders. Slovenia is a mountainous country covered in forest. Still, most visitors arrive here for the shoreline. Sitting against the Adriatic Sea, Slovenia offers plenty of affordable sandy beaches and lots of suns. While the summer season means more expensive accommodations along the coast, the beaches are all public and free, so it's possible to keep the cost to a minimum even during the high season. Koper Beach and nearby Mesta Beach, Moon Bay, and the famous seaside resort of Portoroz are all very affordable in late spring when temperatures are already summery, but the tourists haven't arrived yet. 6. Hungary. Hungary is one of the most expensive countries in Eastern Europe, but still a fraction of the cost of traveling to major destinations in the western half of the continent. Hungary's capital, Budapest, is home to a long list of free attractions, including walking on the chain bridge across the Danube and exploring the Castle Hill area, although some of the attractions in the castle area, which includes the Buda Castle and the underground Castle Labyrinth, aren't free to visit. They're still very affordable. In the month of June, the city sponsors a Night of the Museums, where you can visit many landmarks around Budapest for free. 7. Slovakia. As Slovakia's capital, Bratislava is definitely the most expensive destination in the country. But even here, You can keep your trip cheap by taking advantage of the many free things the city has to offer. In addition to many tiny galleries spread throughout the entire city, Bratislava is also home to lots of street sculptures, from bronze workmen coming out of sewer holes to life-size Napoleon soldiers leaning against benches. Despite being the capital, Bratislava is relatively small and can be easily explored on foot, as most of the attractions and top things to do are located around the Old Town Center area. If you're headed outside the city, trains and buses are cheap and very comfortable. 8. Poland. Poland's main cities, Krakow and Warsaw, are not always cheap, so if they are your main destinations, avoid visiting in the summer. Shoulder season, especially the months of March and April, are ideal months to travel to urban Poland. The weather is warming up, the prices are still low, and the castles and palaces that were closed during the winter are opening up again, often at discounted prices. Poland's most famous destinations, including the Auschwitz-Birkenau camps, the Wieliczka salt mine, and Schindler's factory, are much less crowded in the off-season, so you won't waste time waiting in line. Many other attractions around the country are either very cheap or free to access, including climbing the old town hall tower for great views in Krakow, the 13th-century castle of the Teutonic Order in Malbork, and the ancient Białowieża forest. 9. Czech Republic. The Czech Republic is not as affordable as it used to be, but if much of your travel is outside the capital city of Prague, you'll be able to find plenty of bargains. This is especially true during the colder months, except for the second half of December, as the weeks around Christmas time are prime tourist season. January and February are the cheapest months, with March through May also offering some great discounts on flights and accommodations. Many of Prague's main attractions are free, but also part of many paid tours, rather than paying to be taken there. It makes more sense to grab a map and explore them on your own. This includes walking on Charles Bridge, stopping by the astronomical clock, and walking the cobblestone streets of Old Town Square and its medieval buildings. 10. Italy. Italy is one of the cheapest Western European countries to visit. The public transportation system in Italy is so amazing, there's truly no reason to ever grab a taxi while there. That said, if you're trying to cover everything from Milan to Pompeii in one visit, you'll end up spending lots of money on high-speed trains. If at all possible, just pick one region and stick to it, so you can just use local trains and buses to move around. If you absolutely must see the sights of Rome and Venice on one trip, the local slower trains will take 3 times longer but cost you a quarter of the price. The same is true when it comes to the country's major tourist sites, the bigger ones, such as the Colosseum or the Vatican. All have significant entry fees, so pick just a few favorites and spend the rest of your trip visiting cheap or free attractions, such as strolling around the Villa Borghese gardens or tossing a coin into the Trevi fountain. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please hit that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel for future updates. Thanks for watching.